Welcome back everyone to my ArchitPack Greg Let's Play, and it's been quite a while. It's actually been like over a year since I touched this world at all, and honestly almost 2 years since I was, properly active. So I've gotten back into it because ArchitPack Greg has actually got an update. Uh, Basically just new versions of all the mods. And a lot of recipes have changed, and some things have actually been are a lot harder to get than they used to be. Anyway, um, the main setup is still the same. I'm not sure what the exact progress was actually when I showed you last time, so let's just do a quick tour. So my main low voltage machinery is way over here. Basically all the machines you can dream of. My main power source comes from diesel, which I get primarily from a light oil pipeline, which goes all the way to some oil well. We make sure to, or it's actually a combination. It's actually normal oil. I'm sorry, which I split into heavy oil and yeah, I split into heavy fuel and raw fuel and light fuel. Excuse me, and we make sure to distill it into so we can get the light fuel and the heavy fuel, so we can create diesel because diesel is really efficient when it comes to how much you need for the amount of power you get. And these diesel turbines, they're like all over the place. It's kind of a mess, honestly. Like this is, I think they're partly over there, and this is just a very large combination of cables. And so this is my main power source for all my my lower machines. But here you can see I have these large stack of advanced diesel generators, which are tier 2. They create medium voltage power, and we use it to power my machines. I actually have a bunch of basic ones as well, which I have transferring over here. And honestly, it's not really a problem to keep this up. Like, you don't actually need that much diesel. And this powers all my medium machinery, and this is basically all to create processors, because those are the annoying things, and that's what I'm actually working on right now. It's total pain to create these right now, because to create high voltage machines, let me just give you an example. You need, there's actually a large number of possibilities, but the only one that are really available right now, if you're in a lower tier, are these electronic computers. And these electronic computers, as you can see, the recipe I'm using here, well, first you need a lot of circuits, and you need all these transistors, the capacitors, and you need these. You need 4 of them, right? And for each of these, you need 3 standard basic processors, actually, which themselves are not that trivial to create because they each require 4 capacitors and resistors. And as you can see, I've just been stacking up on these and trying to get everything going. And I'm actually finally starting to produce them now, but it's kind of a pain to keep this this thing running with all the correct components, because it keeps feeding in the wrong ones actually. But yeah, so that's kind of a pain. And what's actually, and these things, by the way, you can create them from these wafers, which you need this precision laser engraver for. You need to get this monocrystalline boule, which you need to put in a blast furnace and everything. These are not trivial to make. These are not that difficult. They just use components like these, but they all require polyethylene, which is not trivial to make, but it's not the worst. But these were actually, honestly, the hardest one to make, because you need either this sodium persulfate, which is really annoying to make. So I went for the iron 3 chloride, which means you're gonna need a lot of hydrochloric acid. And these things are also not easy to make, because you can use glue, but glue's not easy to make either, and this is much more efficient, obviously. So this bisphenol A, this recipe actually changed the most, which is what I spent most of my time doing, because, this was the same, but how you get phenol has changed. In the past, you could, you can still create it from cumene, as you can see here. So this recipe is the same, but the cumene recipe is actually also the same. But the problem is the propene. It has changed, because in the past, you could steam crack in a chemical reactor, or I don't know, some kind of lower tier machine. But the only way to get this steam cracked light fuel now is in a cracking unit. And a cracking unit is a very much high voltage kind of multi-block structure. As you can see, you need a ton of stainless steel. This is not easy to make. Definitely not something I was gonna pursue. Thankfully, though, I did have quite some propane already created, quite a bunch of cumene created as well. So I didn't actually really need to change it, but I did, want to get everything at least going. But yeah, finally, I'm actually starting to produce these because like my goal was to create a stack of these electronic computers at once. So, I wouldn't have to, do this immediately again. Although, a stack honestly can last you quite a while, but not that long probably. But it should be good for now. But just the amount of copper that this requires is like 10 to 20 stacks of copper. I think maybe even more. The copper part was probably the most expensive. The other kinds of stuff, it's not that hard to get. But let me show you a bit of downstairs here, because downstairs, that's where the real magic happens. Hydrogen is always a problem, because it's actually not that trivial to make. One of the main ways I'm actually getting hydrogen is by putting sodium into water, which I can show you right now. What you do is you put it into this recipe. This has actually been one of my primary sources of hydrogen right now. And just get this from the salt, from the electrolyzer, which also creates chlorine, which I also require for the iron 3 chloride and also for the bisphenol A. So this is doubly useful. But as you can see, this is a complete mess of machines, especially this part. Because this is where let's step away from that clicking noise for a bit. What I do here is I create ethanol and ethylene. And the ethanol I create from biomass, because that's by far the most efficient way actually to get it. As you can see here, the biomass passes in, and here in these distilleries we create the ethanol from it. And the ethylene, let's see if we can actually find where this is created. Let's see. And here, this is the ethylene, which you just processing it into polyethylene is pretty easy. It's just oxygen. Here, yeah, you need the sulfuric acid to combine it with the ethanol to get the ethylene. This is like my ore processing area. I still need to get like a centrifuge system in place, but it just takes forever, so I haven't really gotten around to that. I have 2 blast furnaces. Right now we're not really doing anything. I should probably put some copper in or some aluminium or something, although I probably don't actually need any more aluminium. I have more than enough. Alright, so let me show the final part, which is this area. I'm actually also creating an alternative power source using steam from charcoal, which I get from this tree farm, which I kind of dislike how good this actually is. These forestry tree farms, like, they're cool, and like at least they're not like one block. Like, you actually have to like prepare all the area with like blocks and machinery. As you can see, it's just piping all this stuff here, like the water and oxygen is coming this way, and the fuel. Although the fuel actually is not being used anymore, because in the past, I was cracking that fuel, but right now it doesn't actually go anywhere. And the turbine that I have running here is just running on diesel that I just give it manually. Anyway, so that's basically my current progress, and I'm about to get into high voltage machinery, which I'm really excited about, because that will finally allow me to make things like titanium. And I really want to make titanium so I can upgrade my drills. That's actually the main reason, because if you upgrade your drills to the next level, to the next tier, they're actually almost twice as fast, which would be quite amazing for mining, because mining right now, it takes quite some time. And it's always nice. It can be relaxing, but sometimes you just want to get it done. Create some small amount of titanium already, which requires me to create an advanced chemical reactor first, which I'll probably be powering with. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make like a diesel generator first, or just use some just transform some power. because with this I can actually make some titanium tetrafluoride. Titanium is an absolute pain to create. Like, first of all, oh wait, that's the wrong one. You need to create hot titanium ingot first in the blast furnace, which will require high voltage power, which is of course a pain. So I'm gonna somehow have to upgrade my my blast furnace first of all, and you need this titanium tetrachloride, which you can only create in a high voltage chemical reactor, which is quite annoying, obviously. Yeah, all these other recipes are even harder to get. And with it, you can create the hot ingot, which you will then need to freeze in the vacuum freezer, which is a completely, which itself is, thankfully it's aluminium, and I have plenty of aluminium, so this is not that difficult to create. It's more, you know, these kinds of things that all the machine holes and everything. But once I have finally some titanium, I can make a drill, and I can start mining a lot easier. So maybe I'll add some footage at the end of me creating the final stack of these computers. But otherwise, it's going to be it for today. I just wanted to give you a quick update. And you know, it always amazes me how much time you can sink into this. Like, it really is. There's just, I'm not even to high voltage yet, and I've spent over 100 hours, I believe, on this world alone. So it's yeah, honestly, probably beyond high voltage and a bit further beyond. I think it'll get a bit less fun because, you know, you're just doing the same thing over and over, just going up a tier, adding extra complexity. I'm not sure that, you know, the kind of assembly lines you're going to have to put up are going to be that much more different and unique, but we'll see. Maybe the mod will surprise me and it'll be really cool. That was it for today. Thank you guys. See you. Maybe there'll be a montage after this. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. See you guys.